Alright, what's going on, folks? Your friendly neighborhood old soldier coming at you again from Robeson County, North Carolina, where it is a little foggy this morning. But that's okay and that's alright. We'll get through it one way or the other, come hay or high water. But sorry for the camera angle. I'm in the van again. Take it down here to the shop. So I'm gonna get the brakes done for Mrs. Old Soldier. I had to make an appointment for today because they were backed up yesterday. That's okay. And that's alright. Anyway, that's for you, Brother Kyle. Yeah, I know I keep putting off getting back on track with the 45 points. But I wanted to get this one in this morning because I got to go on Fort Bragg later this morning. My son-in-law is going to sign over 4 more years of his life to Uncle Sam, which I'm not upset about. Any young man or woman right now that's considering joining the military, the U.S. military, think long and hard before you make that commitment. Because when I listen to my son-in-law talk about his unit's leadership, or lack thereof, it's very disheartening. It's very concerning. So that's the one thing we're going to talk about in this morning's video is the lack of leadership in the U.S. Army, in the U.S. military. We have a chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that he's more concerned about critical race theory and purging white extremism out of the military. Basically, General Millie, Dipstick, whatever you want to call him, has put race relations in the military back 40 years, if not more. It's a complete and total sham. It is. And until we step up and call it out for that, it'll continue. It'll continue to be pushed. And see, honestly, with General Austin being the SecDef, I was really shocked because I was on Fort Bragg when he was the 82nd Airborne Division Commander, when he was the 18th Airborne Corps Commander, and he was a hell of a paratrooper. And it's sad to see that politics have gotten to him. It's sad to see that he is buying the bull crap coming out of Congress. General Milley too. Both of them are a couple tick turds. So I would encourage any young person considering joining the active military right now to think long, hard, 2 or 3 years before you make that commitment. And I don't say all this lightly. I say it with conviction. This is the first time in my life I've ever said that to someone. Don't join the active military right now. If you absolutely have a need to serve, I would highly encourage you to look at your state's National Guard. And there's only 2 types of National Guard: Air Force, Army. Sorry, those who want to be in the Navy or the Marines or Coast Guard, they don't have them. Right? And the reason I say that is that if you live in a strongly conservative state with conservative leadership, it means you got a governor that's going to fight for you. So if you live in, say, California, I would think twice about joining the California National Guard. That's just me. But the reason I'm saying this is, you look at the debacle of the Afghanistan withdrawal. There was no leadership except what was on the ground. And even then, their hands were tied. You see, and I've heard rumors to the effect that the American commanders on the ground were asking for permission to go into Kabul to secure Americans, and were told no. Even though our British and other allies did that, they went in with armed troops to form an armed guard to bring their citizenry out and to get them out of country. Our leadership were cowards in that effect. You see, that's again a sign of weakness in our leadership. I would dare say we had the same issue to an extent as far as rules of engagement go towards the end of this war, where we didn't want to get involved in things that maybe we should have. Right? I mean, it's not the first time the U.S. has played the, well, we're going to drive around with guns but no ammunition in them, i.e. Beirut, 1982, 83. You know, all the other UN coalition, they were allowed to drive. They went to Beirut already armed, locked, and loaded. They weren't playing around. But the U.S. Marines would have to go out on patrol. They had ammunition, but they couldn't have any in the weapon. So if they did run into trouble, that 1 or 2 seconds that it would take to load their M16s or their M60 machine guns, because they had back then, could have been the difference between life and death. You see, this is what we're up against, boys and girls. There's nothing in the rules that said that we had to do that. It was a decision by U.S. commander that thought, well, don't want any accidental shootings taking place because we don't want an international incident. Sorry, you're already in the middle of an international incident. You got to go in as a peacekeeping force. Why not protect yours first? And thus, we fast forward to where we're at now. The same type of mentality is taking place. Not to mention, it's also a who can I hang the hat on? Okay, who's going to be the scapegoat if something does happen? You notice the thief in chief, the sock puppet, he tried to pin this on Donald Trump, unsuccessfully, by the way. Made an ass of himself. He does that anyway. But he made a supreme ass of himself when he tried to blame this on Donald Trump. Everybody looked at him and pointed back at it. Bubba, you own this one. Then it was, well, I had bad advice. Well, from what I understand, you had solid advice and opted to ignore it for whatever reason. But then within your own generals, I'm hearing that they're lying to the sock puppet in chief. Yeah, you heard it. I have it from credible sources that the generals during the whole Kabul fiasco were literally lying to the President of the United States of America to cover their own ass. See, this is the festering leadership that has been allowed to develop. And people might say, well, that had to happen under Trump's regime. No, I'm talking about leaders that were being groomed as far back as the Clinton administration that are now wearing stars. Just think about that for a minute, folks. I've talked about this before, about how the communists have planted their people way back when, and now these people are coming into positions of prominence, positions of power. Make no bones about it. And now it's down to who can we pin the rose on? It's down to who can we blame? Whose fault is it? Instead of, like the Marine colonel that got relieved of command, wanting to know, all right, when are y'all in the senior leadership going to take accountability and responsibility? You see, because in the military, that's one thing that is preached from high on in all the way down from day one. Be accountable and responsible for yourself and your equipment. Because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility and nobody else's. All right, folks. Got to get off here and get ready to put this vehicle in the shop. Waiting for my son to get here so he can take me back to the house while they work on it. But anyway, as for you, Brother Kyle, we will talk to y'all tomorrow. God bless. Take care. Old Soldier out.